Welcome back to this hobby of ours. My name is D, and in today's episode, this is what we're getting into. So let's hit the deck and check it out. Today, we're looking at the Rolex Explorer line. Sir Edmund Hillary and the other fellow there. And most of the photos and some of the info I actually grabbed off of Bob's Watches. This is not a sponsored video, but wanted to give them a shout out as a really great resource. And as I'm going through my hunt for an Explorer, I had to do the research on what's even out there. First one, the 1016, released back in the day, the OG, the old gangster. This one's expensive, and as much as I would love to own one of these, it's, you know, they're north of 15 grand, which is just more than, 20, 25 grand. It's just not my cup of tea. I'm not in that space. Next came the 14270 in 36 millimeter. It's probably the one out there in the used market that has the best pricing. If you're going to hunt this one, you're going to want to chase down the 1999-ish piece that has the word Swiss on it at the bottom. That way you'll have it. It'll be a little more rare because they only did those for about a year and a half or thereabouts. Part of the 14270 line is the Blackout. The serial numbers for the Blackout are the late E, early X, and the paint that was used on the indices, the numbers rather, is black, whereas white or silver were used on the other 14270. This is a rare bird, it's expensive. If I'm being honest, it's not as legible as the others, which is one of the reasons it was initially not well received. But you know the way with Rolex, when something rare happens, it goes up in value. I think these are like 12, 15 or thereabouts. Then we have the 114270, the probably best from the period, the beginning of the 6-digit Explorer. It's got solid end links, so better bracelet, better movement. This would be the best of the older 36 millimeter models that are reasonably priced. These are going up in value quite a bit. Next we have the 39 millimeter models, and there was actually two versions of it. It's still the same reference number, 214270. However, the first one on the left had the small hands that were actually leftover hand stock from the previous 36 millimeter edition, reference 114270. Whereas when they ran out of those tiny hands, they started using, I think, not sure about that, but you can tell the difference on these 6-digit 214s. The hands, they look small, or they look appropriately sized. And there's some speculation that the small hand ones will become, a thing to collect. I don't know. They seem kind of small to me. So if I was going for a 39 millimeter, I'd be going for the one on the right. Now here we are at the modern era, the newest 2021. This is going to have the best pricing via the AD 36 millimeter, the 124270. This is the one I'm trying to get my hands on, trying to establish rapport with ADs and see if I can't get on the radar to get one. The other one that came out at the same time is this two-tone one, and whereas the steel one is like 6.5, this one's going to be 10.5, and that's before the upcoming increases from Rolex. This two-tone is not being well received by the crowd right now, which is a pretty good indicator that it's probably going to be a collectible down the road. If I had 10 G's to park, I had the means to get one, I would get it, but I would have to park it in a vault, and I'm not one to have that much money sitting around. I would want to, if I get one of the steel ones, I want to wear it and have it be part of my life, but it's likely that two-tone one is going to end up a collectible. Because you figure, these watches are no longer tool watches per se in the way they used to be. They're luxury items. Now for some extra credit. This is the 1016 Space Dweller 36 millimeter out of the JDM, Japanese domestic market, from approximately 1963 to 66. The word on the street is that this was never a formal model that was introduced. but it was put only into the Japan market as a test model, subsequent to the astronauts from the Mercury mission going over to Japan with quite a big fanfare. It didn't do well from what I understand, but is highly sought after today because of the rarity of it. And if I'm being honest, if you're going to get one of these, you're going to need some John Mayer connections and money. Because these are, I think the last time I even saw one was 40 grand. But if I can only own one Explorer, it would definitely be the Space Dweller. I don't roll that heavy. And another odd duck, the Reference 5500, the Air King cased 34 millimeter Explorer dial. This is an Air King case, so that's why it's in 34 millimeter. Also about the same size as the date case for the period, but it's got the Explorer printed dial. And this is kind of an odd duck. I didn't research this one very much because it's not one that I would purchase. And I don't know if some of these were monkeyed together over the years. I saw a couple of them well over a year ago on eBay, and things just didn't look right, and maybe it was just those examples. It's an interesting piece, and if they're out there in the real, then clearly they're going to be valuable, but perhaps a bit more than their actual worth, so who knows about that. The shakedown. If money is no object, by all means, get a 1016 or a 14270 blackout, but definitely only buy from a vetted watch dealer. I'm talking Roman Sharf, Paul Thorpe's guys, Bob's Watches, whomever is well reputed in the industry for vintage pieces. And also, if you're going to get a 39 millimeter, get that from a viable dealer. And don't go to the Wild Wild West we usually do via eBay and those channels, because there's a lot of faking going on out there. That's what makes purchasing Rolex used so challenging, is all of the fakes out there. And the 39 millimeter era saw one of the greatest expanses in the fake area. So ultimately, get a 36 millimeter from an AD, sure to please, no matter which one of these you like, the two-tone or the steel. Put in the work like I'm doing, build a relationship as best you can. You know me, I'm not going to buy a bunch of blah blah at a AD to get the watch I want, but I'm going to try and rely on my charm, see how far that gets me. And who knows, maybe we'll end up getting one. If I do, I will certainly document it. I hope you've enjoyed this tour de force of the Explorer line, and that it might be of benefit to you as you get out there trying to get one of your own. All right, happy hunting.